Hello, my dear shining stars. How are you all? I hope you all are doing really very well. In our today's class, we are going to continue our chapter number 3. The name of the chapter is The Signal Man. Okay. In our previous video, we have discussed some portion of this chapter. Okay. Now we are going to continue our chapter number 3. Okay. So come with me and let's see the chapter. His manner cleared like my own. He replied to my remarks with readiness, and in well-chosen words. Had he much to do there? Yes. That was to say, he had enough responsibilities to bear, but exactness and watchfulness were what was required of him and of actual work. Manual labor he had next to none. Okay, so my dear students, previously we have discussed that the narrator of the story, okay, he saw a person standing in the standing near tunnel. Okay, now when the narrator of the story met that person, okay, and now they're discussing. Okay, here in this paragraph you can see the narrator of the story is describing about exactly here the narrator of the story is describing the exact personality of that person. Okay, according to the narrator, here he was a clear mannered person, means he was a well behaved person. Okay, and he always replied. Okay, now you can see he always replied. Okay, he always replied to the narrator of the story with readiness, means he was very cautious. Okay, he was very conscious while replying any kind of answers to narrator of the story. Okay, that person choose very wise words while speaking. Okay, he was showing that he was a very responsible person. He has a lot of responsibilities to bear. Okay, so here you can see this is the character description of that person in the words of narrator of the story. Okay, now under that head, regarding those many long and lonely hours of which I seem to make so much, he could only say that the routine of his life had shaped itself into that form and he had grown used to it. Okay, now you can see this is the person. Okay, this is the person and this is the narrator of the story. Okay, he met with this weird looking person. Okay, now he is saying that yes, I have a lot of responsibility to bear. Okay, and the situation which you are seeing, okay, which you have seen in surrounding of me, okay, they have made me such kind of personality. Okay, I'm not such a person. Okay, but I just adopted my surrounding area. He taught himself a language down here, if only to know it by sight, and to have formed his own crude ideas of pronunciation could be called learning it. He had also worked at fractions and decimals and tried a little algebra, but he was and had been as a boy a poor hand at figure. Even you know what, my dear student, what? This person was really responsible. He was not faking, because on his own he studied about mathematics, little bit about fraction, little bit about algebra. Even he discovered a language for himself only in which he can understand. Okay, in which he can understand and he can communicate to understand his near about surrounding. Okay, now was it necessary for him when on duty always to remain in that channel of damp air, and could he never rise into the sunshine from between those high stone walls? Okay, now the person who is narrating this story, he was thinking, is it weird why he always used to live here? Okay, why he was not allowing himself to see the sunshine? Okay, why he was staying in such a dark area? Okay, why that dependent upon time and circumstances? Okay, so this person is saying that why he always have to depend upon circumstances, why always he has to depend upon the situation, that I was going to do only that thing which situation demands. Under some condition there would be less upon the line than under other, and the same held good as to certain hours of day and night. In bright weather, he did choose occasions for getting a little above those lower shadows, but being at all time liable to be called by his electric bell. and at such times listening for it with redoubled anxiety. The relief was less than I would suppose. Okay, now you can see, my dear student, whenever he was called, okay, whenever he was called from his duty, he always used to give a signal. Okay, he always used a electric bell to give a signal. Okay, he always used an electric bell to response. Okay. Now the narrator of the story is saying that if I'm got caught, okay, if I'm able to, if I'm in future, if I caught in this situation, I'm not going to survive, because he used to live in a dark world. Okay, he took me into his box where there was a fire, a desk for an official book in which he had to make certain entries, a telegraphic instrument which with its dial, face and needles, and the little bell of which he had spoken. Okay, so till now, my dear student, the narrator of the story have seen, okay, with his own naked eye, all these things which he is describing here. Okay, here you can see he is describing about the nature, about appearance, about his surrounding of this person. Okay, now when the narrator of the story reached in that office where he used to live, okay, because he also made a small office near his surrounding, he saw there was a many instrument, okay, there was many instruments are kept there, okay, which is showing that yes, he's a literate person, he is not faking his identity. Okay, now what kind of instruments are kept there, you can see here. Telegraphic instrument, okay, telegraphic instrument having a dial, face and needles, and he also kept a little bell. On my trusting that he would excuse the remark that he had been well educated, and I hoped I might say without offense, perhaps educated above that station, he observed that instance of slight incongruity in such wise would rarely be found wanting among large bodies of man, that he had heard it was so in workhouses, in the police force, even in that last desperate resource, the army, and that he knew it was so more or less in any great railway staff. He had been when young, if I could believe it, sitting in that hut, he scarcely could. A student of natural philosophy and had attended lectures, but he had run wild, misused his opportunities, gone down and never risen again. He had no complaint to offer about that. He had made his bed and he lay upon it. It was far too late to make another. Okay. Now you can see the narrator of the story is saying this person, okay, the person who is standing in front of me, he literally wasted his most of time. Okay, if anybody, okay, if anybody will be present in his place, okay, maybe he took a lot of opportunities to groom himself, maybe he took a lot of opportunities to get a well education, maybe he got a chance to serve in army, okay, or maybe in police force, etc and etc, but he wasted, he chose this dark world, okay, he chose this little bit space for himself only. Okay, it means the narrator of the story is saying in short that in his own eye, okay, in his own eye, this person lost a great opportunity of his life by, and if he was only succeed in grabbing those opportunities, then maybe it is possible he would become a very great personality, because he was very intelligent person. Okay, now all that I have here condensed, he said in a quiet manner, with his grave dark regards divided between me and the fire. He threw in the word, sir, from time to time, and especially when he referred to his youth, as though to request me to understand that he claimed to be nothing but what I found him. He was several times interrupted by the little bell and had to read off messages and send replies. Okay, now you can see after some time that person, okay, that person made his bed and lie on his bed. Okay, but sometime he used to refer the narrator of the story as sir. Okay, and both of them got disturbed with the upcoming messages, okay, which notification continuously notified in the electric bell of that person. You can say that electric bell is almost disturbing type of element, okay, for both of them. Now once Once he had to stand without the door and display a flag as a train passed and make some verbal communication to the driver. Okay. Now, why he was getting so much notifications on his phone? Because he was a signal man. Okay, he was to give us signals to the train passing through that station. Okay, so for one, he stand up. Okay, and he used to display the flag for that passing train. Okay, and after showing that flag, he used to have some verbal communication with the driver of the train. In the discharge of his duties, I observed him to be remarkably exact and vigilant, breaking off his disclosure at a syllable and remaining silent until what he had to do was done. Okay, see, once his work was finished, he kept silent. Okay, he don't like to talk with many persons. In a word, I should have set this man down as one of the safest of men to be employed in that capacity, but for the circumstances that while he was speaking to me, he twice broke off with a fallen color, turned his face towards the little bell when it did not ring, opened the door of the hut, which was kept shut to exclude the unhealthy dump, and looked out towards the red light near the mouth of the tunnel. Okay, now you can see the narrator of the story is saying that if I'm going to put this person in the word, maybe I'm going to set up thinking about this man. Maybe this person is employed as one of the safest man, okay, one of the safest man to be employed in this sector, means in this signal man community. Okay, and when that person was not getting any kind of notification for some time on his electric bell, okay, he was continuously showing that he was very eager to get a notification through that uh, electric bell. Okay, means he was bothered. Okay, he was very much bothered if he was not getting any kind of notification. Okay, now on both of those occasions he came back to the fire with the inexplicable air upon him which I had remarked without being able to define when we were so far asunder. Said I, when I rose to leave him, you almost make me think that I have met with a contented man. Okay, so at the end of the day, the narrator of the story said, finally, oh, you signal man, you really made me believe that yes, finally I met a man who was a very contented in nature. Okay, I am afraid I must acknowledge that I said it to lead him on. Okay, now I believe I used to be, he rejoined in the low voice in which he had first spoken. But I'm troubled, sir. I am troubled. Okay, now see, here the narrator of the story is praising. Okay, here the narrator of the story is praising that signal man. Okay, so that signal man said, yes, I believe, sir. I believe on your words. Now you can see here, my dear student, here the narrator of the story is praising that person. Okay, and he said, yes, I believe on your spoken words. But you know what, sir? I'm literally troubled because something is bothering me. Okay, that's why I'm feeling a very trouble. Something is bothering me, really bothering me. Now, he would have recalled the words if he could. He had said them, however, and I took them up quickly. Now, the narrator of the story was really scared. Okay, he immediately took a very close look on his words. With what? What is your trouble? Okay, here you can see the narrator of the story is asking, okay, what thing is bothering you? Can you please tell me, okay, why you are bothered? It is very difficult to impart, sir. It is very, very difficult to speak of. If ever you make me another visit, I will try to tell you. Okay, so that signal man is saying, sir, this is our first time meeting. Okay, and I'm not very much comfortable to share my problems with you, to share that thing which is bothering me. Okay, but I will promise you. Okay, but I'm promising you that whenever you are going to visit me, okay, whenever you are going to visit me, I'm going to share my problem with you. I'm going to share that thing which is bothering me. But I expressly intend to make you another visit. Say when shall it be? Okay, now the narrator of the story is saying that, okay, fine, no problem, I'm going to visit you. Okay, I'm going to make a next visit to you. Okay, can you tell me when should I visit you? I go off early in the morning and I shall be on again at 10 tomorrow night, sir. I will come at 11. Okay, now the signal man is saying, okay, you can come to visit me tomorrow night. Okay, so the narrator of the story make a promise. Okay, fine, no problem. Tomorrow night we are meeting. Okay, he thanked me and went out at the door with me. I will show my white light, sir, he said in a peculiar low voice, till you have found the way up. When you have found it, don't call out, and when you are at the top, don't call out. Okay, now the signal man is saying thanks to the narrator of the story, and he is saying that, sir, you don't have to call me. Okay, you don't have to call me when you reach at top of the building. Okay, you don't have to call me. Okay, never make a call. His manner seemed to make the place strike colder to me, but I said no more than very well. Okay, but you know what, my dear student, the way in which he was saying, okay, the way in which that signal man is saying, you don't have to make me a call whenever you are at the top. Okay, whenever you are at the top, please don't call me. This seems something. Here the narrator of the story sensed something fishy behind it. Okay, something very fishy behind it. Okay, but still he didn't make any kind of excuses here. He said, okay, very well, if you are saying so, I'm not going to make any call. And when you come down tomorrow night, don't call out. Let me ask you a parting question. What made you cry? Hello, are below there tonight. Okay, now again that signal man is saying, and tomorrow night when you are going to visit me, okay, when you are coming here to visit me, you don't have to make any kind of question. I'm going to ask you, hello, are below there tonight. Okay, I'm going to ask you. Okay, you don't have to call me. Heavens knows, said I cried something to that effect. Okay, now here you can see the narrator of the story says, oh God, heaven know what I'm going to do. Okay, not to that effect, sir. Those were very words. I know them very well. Okay, so that signal man is saying, sir, you don't have to be got so much affected. Okay, admit those were the very words. I said them, no doubt, because I saw you below. Okay, so at this time the narrator is saying that, okay, just admit it that those words which you have said, okay, admitted those words which you have said right now in front of me, they are not they are non-suspicious. Okay, just admit it. Okay, because I know there's something fishy behind it. Okay, so the signal man is said, for no other reason, why should I admit it? What other reason could I possibly had? You had no feeling that you had no feelings, you had no feeling that they were conveyed to you in any supernatural way? No. Okay, here you can see, my dear student, here comes the main twist of the story, because this story is actually based on some supernatural incidents. Okay, so here this person is saying, the signal man is saying, can you please tell me, sir, why you are doubting me? Okay, or are you believing that this communication which right now we are communicating, maybe there is something supernatural behind it? Are you believe on it or not? So immediately the narrator said, no, absolutely not, I'm not going to believe on you. He wished me good night and held up his light. I walked by the side of the down line of rails with a very disagreeable sensation of a train coming behind me until I found the path. It was easier to mount than to descend, and I got back to my inn without any adventure. Okay, now that signal man wished good night to the narrator, and the narrator was coming back to his home. Punctual to my appointment, I placed my foot on the first notch of the zigzag next night as a distant clock was striking 11. He was waiting for me at the bottom with his white light on. Okay, and now here comes the tomorrow night. Okay, and the narrator was very punctual for his appointment time. Okay, at 11 o'clock, he saw that signal man was waiting for him. I have not called out, I said, when we came close together. May I speak now? By all means, sirs. Good night then, and here's my hand. Good night, sir, and here's mine. With that, we walked side by side. Side by side to his box, entered it, closed our door, and sat down by the fire. Okay. So when both of them met, the narrator said, "See, I didn't make any kind of noise, okay, because you stopped me. Okay, you told me that I don't that I don't have to call you. Okay, you told me. Okay, see, I see, I kept my promise. Okay, so immediately that person said, yes, I know, sir, you are a man of your words. Okay, so now what about now? Okay, so both of them, means narrator and the signal man, wished good night, both of them, and went to the office of that signal man. Okay, and now they are sitting now they are sitting in front of a fire. I have made up my mind, sir. He began bending forward as soon as we were seated and speaking in a tone but a little above a whisper. Okay. Now that signal man is saying, sir, I made up my mind. Now I'm going to share my story with you. Okay. But you know what? The tone in which that signal man is saying all this thing, it's in a whisper tone. Okay. Not in a very loud or not in a low tone. Even it's in whisper tone. That you shall not have to ask me twice what troubles me. I took you for someone else yesterday evening. That troubles me. Okay. Now that signal man is saying, sir, you are not going to ask me. Okay. You are not going to ask me twice that what thing is bothering me. Because you know what? Yesterday when I met you, I accept. Okay, I accept that I didn't recognize you. Okay, I didn't recognize you. I thought you are you are a different person. Okay, you are not right now who is sitting in front of me. Okay, yesterday I thought you are a different personality. That mistake, no, that's someone else. Who is it? I don't know. Like me. Okay, so the narrator is saying, this is your mistake. Okay, this is bothering you. So the signal man said, no, this is not the thing which is bothering me. Narrator is asking, then can you please tell me now? Can you please share with me your problem? The signal man is saying, in reality, I literally don't know what is bothering me. Like me. So narrator is saying, oh, wait a minute. Like me, I'm bothering you. I don't know. I never saw the face. The left arm is across the face and the right arm is waved, violently waved this way. Okay. Now the signal man is saying, sir, I really don't know what thing is bothering you. But you know what? The person whom I saw, okay, he was waving his left arm in a very violent way, like this. Okay, like in this way, he was just waving his left arm in a very violent way. I followed his action with my eyes, and it was the action of arm gesticulating with the utmost passion and vehemence. For God's sake, clear the way. Okay, and then the narrator followed the action. Okay, followed the action that signal man is doing. Okay, he was literally scared. Okay, he was literally surprised. He asked, for God's sake, tell me what is your problem. Tell me the exact point. One moon night, said the man, I was sitting here when I heard a voice cry, hello up below there. I started up, looked from that door and saw this someone else standing by the red light near the tunnel, waving as I just now showed you. The voice seemed hoarse with shouting and it cried, look out, look out. Okay, now here the signal man is discussing his problem with the narrator. He is saying that one moonlight night, okay, when I was sitting, I saw that a person is saying hello below there, and he was just waving his left arm in a very violent way. Okay, I saw with my own naked eye. And he was shouting, okay, he was shouting in a very loud voice, and he was saying, look out, look out. And then again, hello below there, look out. I caught up my lamp, turned it on red, and ran towards the figure, calling, what's wrong? What has happened? Where? It stood just outside the blackness of the tunnel. Okay, and after that shouting, look out, look out, he again shouted, hello below there. Okay, look out. Okay, so when I reached in front of him, and I asked, okay, why you are shouting in this way? Okay, what happened? What's your problem? Okay, I advanced so close upon it that I wondered at it, keeping the sleeve across its eyes. I ran right up at it and had by hand stretched out to pull the sleeve away when it was gone. Into the tunnel, I said. Okay, now here you can see the signal man is saying, and I started running in the direction of the voice where he was indicating. Okay, so narrator asked, you went into the tunnel? No, I ran on into the tunnel 500 yards. I stopped and held my lamp above my head and saw the figures of the measured distance and saw the wet stations stealing down the walls and trickling through the arc. Okay, okay. Now the signal man is saying, no, I run into the tunnel for almost 500 yards. Okay, and there I saw, okay, there I saw a wet stains. Okay, there I saw a wet stains are appeared on the walls of the tunnel. I ran out again faster than I had run in. If I had a mortal abhorrence of the place upon me, and I looked all round the red light with my own red light, and went up the iron ladder to the gallery atop of it, and I came down again and run back here. Okay, and when I entered almost 500 yards in the tunnel, I saw there was a lot of red lights are glowing there. Okay, and I started stepping on the ladder because a ladder was also present in the tunnel for some construction purpose. Okay, I telegraphed both ways. An alarm has been given. Is anything wrong? And you know what, my dear student, why red light was glowing? You all know red light indicates danger. Okay, so this signal man is asking why these red lights are continuously glowing. Is something is going to happen? Is some kind of danger is awaiting for us? The answer came back both ways. All well, resisting the slow touch of a frozen finger tracing out my spine, I showed him how that this figure must be a deception of his sense of sight, and how that figure originating in disease of the delicate nerves that minister of the functions of the eye were known to have often troubled patients, some of whom had become conscious of the nature of their affliction and had even proved it by experiments upon themselves. Okay, so when I was thinking that something is going to be bad happened, okay, so immediately I felt a cold finger, okay, a cold finger on my spine. Okay, and I literally felt a chill run down in my whole nervous system, like some kind of experiment is conducting on patient. Okay, as to my imaginary cry, said I, do but listen for a moment to the wind in this unnatural valley while we speak so low, and to the wild harp it make of the telegraph wires. Okay, and at that time, the signal man is saying that, and at that time, I was just imagining that in my imagination, I was crying. Okay, I was crying. Okay, and I was whispering in a very low tone that what I am doing here. Okay, what kind of this surrounding is. Okay, because here I'm feeling suffocating. Okay, that was all very well. He returned after we had sat listening for a while, and he ought to know something of the wind and the wires. He who so often passed long winter nights there alone and watching, but he would beg to remark that he had not furnished. Okay. Hmm. So this is all. Okay, so this is all that signal man narrated about his story. Okay, means this thing is bothering him. Okay, now after some time they got back in their present time. Okay, I asked his pardon, and he slowly added these words, touching my arm. Okay, so when narrator said, okay, I'm really very sorry to hear this thing, that you feel scared, you feel suffocating. Okay, immediately at that time, that signal man said something by touching the arm of the narrator. Within 6 hours after the appearance, the memorable accident of this line happened, and within 10 hours, the dead and wounded were brought along through the tunnel over the spot where the figure had stood. Here you can see the twist came. Okay, now when that signal man was touching the arms of the narrator of the story, he said, you know what? Okay, after okay, after 6 hours, when I saw that figure was standing in this tunnel, after 6 hours, an accident was happened in this railway track. Okay, and several wounded bodies are taken. Okay, because a deadly accident was occurred here after exactly 6 hours. A disagreeable shudder crept over me, but I did my best against it. And you know what? After listening this horrific incident, the narrator was really scared, but he consoled himself. It was not to be denied, I rejoined, that this was a remarkable coincidence calculated deeply to impress his mind. Okay, and immediately I just consoled myself, I consoled my heart and mind that maybe it is just a coincidence. Okay, maybe it is just a coincidence. There is nothing, there is no link between the accident and that figure. But it was unquestionable that remarkable incidences did continually occur, and they must be taken into account in dealing with such a subject. Though, to be sure, I must admit, I added, for I thought I saw that he was going to bring the objection to bear upon me. Man of common sense did not allow much for coincidences in making the ordinary calculations of life. Okay, so here you can see the narrator is saying, when I was thinking that maybe it is just a mere coincidence, but the signalman was not very much impressed with my thinking, because maybe he understood that what I was thinking in the mind. That's why he was not very much pleased with me. Okay, because it is very common. Okay, if you are going to use your common sense, then only you also going to see, you also going to say, yes, maybe this is coincidence. Okay, he again begged to remark that he had not finished. I again begged his pardon for being betrayed into interruption. Okay, now that person is saying that, see, this is not okay, here I'm not finished. Okay, there are a lot of coming in this story. This, he said again, laying his hand upon my arm and glancing over his shoulder with hollow surprise. Was just a year ago, 6 or 7 months past, and I had recovered from the surprise and shock when one morning, as the day was breaking, I, standing at the door, looked towards the red light and saw the spectre again. He stopped with a fixed look at me. Okay, so now that signalman is continuing his story, he was saying that after 6 months, okay, after 6 months, again an incident occurred here. Okay, did it cry out? No, it was silent. Did it wave its arm? No, it leaned against the shaft of the light with both hands before the face, like this. Okay, once more I followed his action with my eyes. It was an action of mourning. Mourning. I have seen such an attitude in stone figures on tomb. Okay, now the signalman is saying, you know what? After 6 months, again another incident occurred on this track, and you know what? Again I saw that figure. Okay, now the narrator is asking, okay, when you saw that figure, he was crying. Okay, signalman said, no, he was not crying, he was just standing silent. Okay, now narrator asked, okay, just like the last time, again he was waving his arms. Okay, the signalman is saying, no, at this time, okay, he was not waving his arm, although he was just standing. Okay, he was just standing like a statue. Okay, I hope, my dear student, you also a statue standing like he was mourning. Okay, mourning means what? Like he was showing his sadness that he lost somebody who is very close to him, who was very close to his or her heart. Okay, did you go up to it? I came in and sat down, partly to collect my thoughts, partly because it had turned me faint. When I went to the door again, daylight was above me and the ghost was gone. Okay, now the narrator of the story asked, okay, tell me what happened further. Okay, now the signalman is saying, really at that time I lost my mind. Okay, I came back to my office. Okay, I take a deep breath. First of all, I try to calm and compose myself first of all. Okay, and when I go back again, I saw that figure was disappeared. Not no, but nothing followed, nothing came of this. He touched me on the arm with his forefinger twice and thrice, giving me a ghastly note each time. Okay, now the narrator is asking, so what? I hope there is nothing behind it. Why you are just reacting in this way? So again that signalman is touching the arms of the narrator, maybe one or maybe 2 or 3 times again. That very day, as a train came out of the tunnel, I noticed at a carriage window on my side what looked like a confusion of hands and heads, and something waved. Okay, so again that signalman is saying, on that day a train was came. Okay, and I saw that a person was sitting there having hands and head. Obviously human beings have head and hands. Okay, and they are waving, they are just waving. I saw it just in time to signal the driver stop. He shut off and put his brake on, but the train drifted past here 150 yards or more. I ran after it, and as I went along, heard terrible scream and cries. Okay, so when I saw that hands and head. Immediately I suspected that something is going to be fishy, okay, something is very bad going to be happen. Immediately I signaled the driver of the train to stop the train, but you know what, stopping the train at a time, at the moment, is not possible. It takes few minutes, okay. So when finally that train is stopped, I heard a loud scream coming, a loud scream, loud screams and loud cries coming from the train. A beautiful young lady had died instantaneously in one of the compartment and was brought in here and laid down on this floor between us. Okay, so why he's here so much screams and cry? Because a very young lady who was traveling in the train was dead on the spot. Involuntary, I pushed my chair back as I looked from the board at which he pointed to himself. Okay, and immediately, okay, immediately after hearing such kind of a story, the narrator immediately stand up from his chair. Truths are true, precisely as it happened. So I tell it to I tell it you. Okay, so immediately signalman said, "Sir, I'm telling truth. I'm not lying." Okay. I could think of nothing to say to any purpose, and my mouth was very dry. The wind and the wires took up the story with a long lamenting well. And at this moment, the narrator of the story lost his mind. Okay, he felt his mouth went dry. Okay, no word is coming from his mouth. He resumed, "Now, sir, mark this and judge how my mind is troubled. The spectre came back a week ago. Even ever since, it had been there now and again by fist and starts." You know what? Now again, okay, now again that person, that signal man is saying, "You know what, sir? Okay, again, from next 1 week, again I saw that figure was standing. That's why I assumed you are not a human being, but you are a ghost. At the light, at the danger light. What does it seems to do?" He repeated, if possible, increased passion and vehemence, that former gesticulation of, "For God's sakes, clear the way." Okay, so narrator asked, "Okay, you saw that person, means that figure was standing in the daylight." Okay, immediately signalman said, "No, he was not standing in daylight. He was standing in front of the danger light." Now, what is the meaning of danger light? This light is used to show, okay, this used to show as a signal to the train. Okay, now the narrator asked, "Okay, can you please tell me what did you get? Okay, what actually can you please tell me, okay, what you got to know that why he was showing in front of the dark light?" Okay, single man said, "I really don't know, only God knows." Then he went on, "I have no piece of rest for it. It calls to me for many minutes together in an agonized manner. Below there, look out, look out. I stand waving to it, stand waving to me. It rings my little bell." Okay. Now further, this person, signalman, started continue that. See, from that moment, I was not feeling any kind of peace. Okay, I'm continued troubled. Okay, I caught at that. "Did it ring your bell yesterday evening when I was here and you went to the door?" Okay, so immediately narrator asks, "Okay, can you please tell me your bell? Okay, your bell rang when you saw me twice. Why see? Why see? Why see?" I said. "How our imagination misleads you. My eyes were on the bell and my ears were open to the bell, and if I am not a living man, it did not ring at those times. No, no, nor at any other time except when it was rang in the natural course of physical things by the station communicating with you." Okay, so immediately this person said, "Yes, sir, twice, for means for two time my bell rang when I saw you." Okay, so that narrator of the story is saying, "See, I hope right now I'm quite clear. Nothing is bothering you. It's only your imagination. Okay, you are just thinking that a scary figure is standing waving at you. Okay, and all this thing. It is all your imaginative. It is all your imaginative mind work. Okay, nothing is bothering you." He shook his head. "I have never made a mistake as to that yet, sir. I have never confused the spectral ring with the man's. The ghost ring is a strange vibration in the bell that it derives from nothing else, and I have not asserted that the bell stirs to the eye. I don't wonder that you failed to hear it but I heard it. Okay, so immediately this signal man said, no sir, I'm not hallucinating. Okay, I'm not hallucinating. I made a clear difference between, I can make a clear difference between a ring owned by a human being and a ring owned by a ghost. Okay, I immediately find out the difference between those two rings. Okay, and I'm quite sure, I'm sure that my bell rang for 2 times, means the ghost was appeared there. And did the spectre seem to have And did the spectre seem to be there? When you looked out, it was there. Okay. So narrator asks, okay, no problem. When your bell rang for 2 times and when you went out, you saw that figure was standing there. Signal man said, yes, he was standing there. Both times. Narrator asked, okay, for both times. Okay. He repeated firmly, both times. Okay. Signal man said, yes, both time when I went to saw, he was standing there. Will you come to the door with me and look for it now? Okay, so this person, this narrator of the story is saying, okay, no problem, now come with me. Okay, now come with me, stand in front of the door and tell me, still can you see him? He bit his underlip as though he was somewhere not willing but arose. Okay, immediately that signal man started biting his lip like he was feeling very nervous. I opened the door and stood on the step while he stood in the doorway. There was a danger light. There was a dismal mouth of the tunnel. There were the high, wet stone walls of the cutting. There were the stars above them. Okay, and immediately the narrator opened the door of the tunnel. Okay, opened the door and they saw that that stars are twinkling in the sky. Okay, and everything is very calm. Okay. Do you see it? I asked him, taking a particular note of his face. His eyes were prominent and strained, but not very much more so perhaps than my own had been when I had directed them earnestly towards the same spot. Okay, so immediately narrator asked, okay, can you please tell me, do you still saw that figure standing there? Okay, and narrator just at that time started observing the change in the behavior, okay, the change in the face color of that signal man. Okay, no, he answered, it is not there. Agreed, I said. Agreed, say I. Okay, so immediately that signal man said, no, right now I can't see him. Okay, so narrator said, yes, totally, I'm agreeing with you. We went in again, shut the door and resumed our seats. I was thinking how best to improve this advantage, if it might be called one, when he took up the conversation in such a matter of course way, so assuming that there could be no serious question of fact between us, that I felt myself placed in the weakest of position. By this time you will fully understand, sir, he said, that what troubles me so dreadfully is the question, what does a spectre mean? I was not sure. I told him that I did fully understand. Okay, now both of them go back and shut the door. Okay, now the narrator of the story was quite clear that what thing is bothering signal man, because all this thing are just the imagination of his own mind. Okay, now that signal man asks, sir, I hope till now the question what is bothering me is quite clear to you. Okay, so narrator of the story said, see, I'm not very much sure, but I'm getting your point. Was it its warning against? He said, ruminating with his eyes on the fire and only by times turning them on me. What is the danger? Where is the danger? There is danger overhanging somewhere on the line. Some dreadful calamity will happen. It is not to be doubted this third time after what has gone before. But surely this is a cruel haunting of me. What can I do? Okay. Now that signal man is saying, sir, can you please tell me, it is some kind of warning, because I can sense something is going to be dangerous happening again. Okay, I can sense it again. Can you please tell me, can you please help me what I can do now? He pulled out his handkerchief and wiped the drops from his heated forehead. Okay, and immediately that signal man put out his handkerchief and started wiping his sweats. If I telegraph danger or on either side of me or on both, I can give no reason for it. He went on whipping the palm of his hand. Okay, I should get into trouble and do no good. They would think I was mad. I was mad. This is the way it would work. Message, danger. Take care, answer. What danger? Where message? Don't know. But for God's sake, take care. They would displace me. What else could they do? Now, here you can see this person, this signal man is continuously blubbering. Okay, he was saying, if I can teleport, okay, if I can telegraph from both sides, I'm going to send a message, and I'm the sender and receiver of both the messages. Okay, I'm going to ask, I'm going to send a message like danger, take care. Okay, you are going to face a danger. You have to take care of yourself. Okay, and me, when I'm receiving this kind of message, I'm going to ask what kind of danger I'm going to face. Okay, so you can see all this. You can see here, my dear student, this whole paragraph is totally based on the imagination at that time of this single man. His pain of mind was most pitiable to see. It was the mental torture of a conscious man oppressed beyond endurance by an unintelligible responsibility involving life. Okay, and the narrator is saying, right now in front of me I can see, okay, a person is sitting who was continuously struggling with his own mind, because his own mind is creating such a ghostly figure and creating such a dangerous situation. Okay, and his heart was feeling fear. I can see such a depressed person, such a disturbed person is sitting in front of me. When it first stood under the danger light, he went on, putting his dark hair back from his head and drawing his hand outward across and across his temples in an extremity of feverish distress. Why not tell me where that accident was to happen? If it must happen, why not tell me how it could be averted? If it could have been averted, when on its second coming it hid its face, why not tell me instead she is going to die? Let them keep her at home. If it came on those two occasions only to show me that its warning was true, and so to prepare me for the third, why not warn me plainly now? Oh, my Lord, help me, a mere poor signalman on this solitary station. Why not go to somebody with credit to be believed and power to act? Okay, now here you can see how disturbed that signalman was. He was saying, why that ghostly figure is appearing in front of me for the third time. Okay, and why he was just saying me that some kind of danger I'm going to face or some kind of danger situation is going to occur. Okay, why he was not just simply tell me for the first incident, when the first incident occurred, a train faced accident, okay, on that track, and for the second time when that lady was dead. Okay, why he just simply why that ghostly figure didn't just simply tell me that you should take care of that lady. Okay, or that lady was stopped. Okay, that lady was stopped from uh, leaving his home. Okay, maybe right now, maybe till now that lady maybe lived. Okay, so why that ghostly figure, but why that ghostly figure still appear in front of me and just waving? Okay, why he simply didn't have a words with me? When I saw him in this state, I saw that for a poor man's sake as well as for the public safety, what I had to do for the time was to compose his mind. Therefore, setting aside all questions of reality or unreality between us, I represented to him that whoever truly discharged his duty must do well, and that at least it was his comfort that he understood his duty, though he did not understand this confounding. Okay, now the narrator of the story was feeling very pity towards this person, because he saw that how disturbed this person is. Okay, appearance. In this effort, I succeeded far better than in the attempt to reason him out of his conviction. Okay, he became calm. He became calm. The occupation incidental to his post as the night advanced began to make larger demands on his attention, and I left him at 2 in the morning. I had offered to stay through the night, but he would not hear of it. Okay, now the narrator started confronting. Okay, now now the narrator started providing comfort to that signalman, because he was literally disturbed at this time. Okay, and at 2 o'clock in the night, he lived. He means narrator lived the house of that signalman. Okay, still narrator said, okay, if you feel any kind of danger, I should stay here for the night. Okay, but that signalman didn't listen to the words of narrator. Okay, my dear student, this is all for our today's class. Okay, now the next part of this chapter we are going to continue in our next video. Till then, what you have to do, just revise all the things which I have taught in your class. Okay, now I'm taking leave and going to meet with you all in our next class with the same chapter. Till then, my dear students, you have to take very good care of yourself. Bye.